program's always going to be built on and a relentless attitude and effort and just a intensity of competition. And so far, this group's really embraced that. It's been physical. It's guys are sacrificing their body. Guys are on the floor. All those things that we value and embody our program has been on display.
Between the guys that are returning, some of these transfers you brought in who have played a lot of college basketball, like is this the deepest team you feel like you've had in your 3 years here?
Yeah, without question. And by design, we knew, especially in light of last year where we kind of ran out of bodies, that we needed more depth, and this group, seems to it's raised the competition level, because I think at any point in time, you have guys that can step up and contribute, so it makes it more competitive.
Just the defensive effort between guys. I mean, Javante is back. Guys like Justin and Troy. Great defenders as well. Like, his defense got you guys to the MAC tournament pretty much last year. Is that kind of a calling card again this year? Is really kind of relying on that defense?
There's no doubt our program's got to be based on that toughness and being able to get stops and competitiveness, and we can run off of that, and that's kind of the focal point for everything we're doing right now. Is we know we can be one of the best defensive teams, and that's something that's a huge priority for us.
And going off of that, what's it been like trying to establish a culture with this new roster in the initial weeks?
Yeah, I mean, this group is a great group of guys. As we prioritize character and fits for us in terms of guys that are competitors and guys that are good people, good in the locker room. This group is a little more outgoing, a little more heavy on the communication, which I think is good. So those things were priorities in recruiting, and it's showing some dividends on the court.
What's the biggest development that you've seen throughout the team as you move into these official practices?
Well, the chemistry, anytime with the modern college basketball, and you're speeding up that process of relationship building in order to get the chemistry right where you want it, and so that part of it was great this summer, is great this fall, and then we could continue to be very intentional in just building that chemistry. And but this group is very tight. You see them travel in packs. They love supporting BG. They love the community, and so they're doing all the right things because they want to, and it's because of who they are.
We talked to other coaches as well that have deep rosters. Coach Willie comes to mind, Coach Simon, but he said he wants his players to make his decisions hard. Is that what the message is when you have a deep roster like this?
There's no question. Ultimately, the ball's in their court. They decide who's ultimately going to be in the rotation and who's not. And we film things. There's analytics. There's all those things. But it's ultimately the player that's going to perform or not perform. And our job is not to put the 5 best players on the floor, but the best 5. And it's a team sport, and we've got to make sure that all the pieces fit, and that's the fun part of building the puzzle.
I remember asking you about what you should say to the public. What do you say to the folks coming in here when they grab the roster and they're trying to figure out who's on the court and who's not? What's the signature of your team going to be again this year?
There's going to be just a relentless competitiveness. This group is going to embody what we're about. We're going to fight and scratch and claw for everything. Loose balls got to be ours, and rebounds got to be ours, and the physicality and running. We're going to empty the tank every game.
There's a lot of talk about the MAC being very even this year, very balanced. There's no teams that really stick out. Is that what you see it so far? I know it's so early.
Yeah, I think the MAC is definitely up. It's one of the rare mid-major leagues where just about everybody got to keep maybe a couple key pieces, and some programs have highly invested in the portal, and so I think the MAC basketball is probably as good as I've seen it in the 3 years on paper, and I think you're looking at a very competitive group 1 through 13 with the addition of UMass. So it's going to be a fight just to get to Cleveland.
You guys have a couple exhibition games, Dayton and Michigan State, leading up to the start of the season. How beneficial is that going to be for you guys to just test out different things?
Yeah, I mean, these are phenomenally important. Now with being able to play Division I teams in the exhibition season, I mean, they're essentially played like games. There's people in the stands, there's tickets, there's 40 minutes on the clock, and you're playing. So there's no real difference to me in terms of these exhibitions or the real games, because you're getting a chance to see your guys compete on those stages against very, very good programs. And so it was hats off to Coach Martin. He was able to get 2 really good exhibitions, which is rare for mid-major programs to be able to play those type of programs, and so that was significant for us. So we'll have a good measuring stick in October of what we need to work on to be the caliber program we want to be.
Just early on, what do you think it's going to take to compete for a title given all these new pieces?
Number one, as a program, we have to be united. We can't beat ourselves in any which way. That's something we're working on right now, is playing very mistake-free basketball, clean basketball, and taking care of the ball, rebounding, doing all the sound fundamental things first, and then worrying about how we can expand off of that. But the communication and the camaraderie, the chemistry, those things are what the top teams usually embody. And then we got to find consistency, and that's part of the trick of putting new teams together, is finding consistency, and so we've got to speed up that process.
All right, Troy, I guess obviously first year here with the BGSU, what's the transition been like, and I guess what's the excitement level, being in this program?
Well, honestly, the transition's been like nothing I've ever had. It's always been I'm looking for in a school for real. So, and I really want to appreciate my coaches and my teammates for bringing me in and helping all of us feel welcome and pushing us to be better every day.
Between defense and rebounding, obviously that's a huge strength of yours. How much pride do you take in that end of the floor, being a strong rebounder as well? BG's had some really good defensive players and rebounders here in the past. Like, how much pride do you take in that aspect of the game?
I take a lot of pride in it because I know that's what I'm here to do and what I'm here to master, and my coaches and my teammates need that for me to do, and that's what I'm going to do every time I'm on the court.
Between guys like you, Javante, who's a great defender, Justin Thomas, a great defender. Like, is that like something that could be a huge strength this year? Is the defensive side of the ball?
I do. I think once we get our defensive strengths all the way down with all of us, I think once it starts with one person, it just goes to the entire team. When you have one good person do one good play, it echoes throughout the entire team.
What's it like learning from someone like Sam Towns? He's been in college, for a while. He's had some tough injuries, but kind of a veteran presence. What have you learned from him in your time here?
Honestly, he's a really good leader. He'll yell at times, but when he takes you one-on-one, he's talking to you very calm, making sure you understand all the plays, because he knows that we are looking up to him and trusting him to do the right thing, and he does the same for us.
Practices have just seemed really, really intense. Like, what is the intensity level like, when you guys are going out there and competing?
We're competing. I was talking yesterday. I was like, man, this is my first ever Division I practice, and I was like, man, we are battling. Like, this is competitive, very battle. I like it.
Just early on in these initial weeks, what are you guys wanting your identity to be this season? What's being preached among you guys for people to know when they watch BG basketball this season?
Honestly, I think we want to have I want to have a defensive mindset, and I think that because when we get stops on defense, that'll lead to greater offense and just moving the ball, sharing the ball, being a team.
So going off of that, being one of the only players with that much experience on the team this year, what's it like trying to establish a culture with this new group?
It's pretty easy. We got a lot of guys that like to learn. They want to learn. It's easy to coach. And at the end of the day, it seems like everybody just wants to win. So it's easy to do my job when they make it easy, just being coachable. A lot of young guys want to ask questions, so it's not too hard.
Knowing it and having that experience, what is the brand you preach of what makes this program great and what's going to make this group successful?
Consistency. Consistency and taking coaching. The coaches know what they're doing. They've been here before. Just as me, I've been in college for a while now, so I know what to do. Just learning and taking the criticism and getting better each day. Never taking a step back and just every day get better.
With the players that have returned and the players that have come in, do you feel like this is the deepest team that BG's had in these last handful of years? It looks like there's a lot of guys that have been pretty successful in college.
Yeah, it's a pretty deep team. It's a lot of competing in practice. It's hard to kind of gauge what group is which. It just seems like we're all just merging together, which is good because, it's a long season. So you need a good group of guys that are ready, everybody trained to go.
Last year, late in the year, it was defense that kind of led you guys to the MAC tournament. Do you think, with the personnel that you have, that's going to be, a strong suit this year, something you guys are going to rely on?
Yeah, I think Coach recruited a lot of intelligent and long, lengthy type of guys that are able to play multiple positions and are versatile. So I think our defense will be a big problem for other teams. And I think just us playing so fast with the type of guys we got, I think defense and transition will be a good key to us this year.
Okay, but you agree, Sam, that guard play is going to be a strength of this program this year. Now with Anthony back, working with the bigs under the basket as well, how good can you guys be?
Good. I think we're doing really good. He's done a good job at coming in and taking some of us under his wing and showing us a couple things and, just giving us a few pointers on how he used to do things back when he was here. I think we're really starting to transition into a way where we don't really have like any traditional bigs. Everybody's just kind of playing like a guard, and if you're big, you can play as big as well.
What is your role on this team now? Obviously, your 4th year here. You're the senior citizen, if you will, of this group. What's your role? Leader?
Yeah, just leading in any way I can, whether that be on the court, off the court, offensively, defensively, if that's scoring, making the right play, rebounding, and just being that guy that they know they can count on every day to be consistent.
What's it been like, getting back on, on the court, throughout the year and everything like that? Obviously, tough to have it come injury last year, but
yeah.
What's it been like, getting back at it and everything?
It's exciting, just being in the facility every day and being around these people. It's a good group of guys we got, so it's fun coming to the facility. It's no dark days. Even the days that are hard in practice, we're still smiling after practice, so it's good. I think it's going to be a great season.
What's the intensity level like? Just looking at practice, everyone is going so hard. Like, what is it like, even in practices?
Yeah, it's extremely intense, especially with these 20-hour weeks starting up. Coaches really getting after us. It's a lot of conditioning, but like I said, these guys want to work. They want to play, and everybody wants to be on the court. So it's a lot of competing that we got going on, but it would be beneficial towards the end.
Thank you. Ante, well, how are things going? Obviously, some key returners like yourself, some pretty good pieces added this year. What's practice has been like so far?
Practice, it's been physical. It's actually been great, very competitive. We have a lot of guys that can really contribute this year, so it's going to be great.
Do you feel like this is like maybe the deepest team, in the last few years, or especially, since you've been here? It looks like there's a lot of guys at every position that looks like they can contribute right away.
100%. I feel like we're very well rounded. We have a lot of guys that can go. We have great freshmen, so a lot of great transfers also. So it's going to be a great year.
What's been your favorite part of this roster, this group of talent that you guys have for this team so far throughout the practice since you've come?
They're all just fun guys to be around. They're very competitive. Honestly, like just being in the gym with them, like they always want to get better. So like that's a great feeling for the whole team.
Defensively, obviously, between guys like yourself, Justin Thomas, great defender, Troy Glover, a lot of these guys, really strong defenders. Is that maybe an area that you can see as being a strength again this season?
100%. I feel like our defense is so great this year. Honestly, I feel like we got 5 guys competing for Defensive Player of the Year on our team.
Last year, to finish as strong as you guys did to reach the MAC tournament, and then obviously a tough one against Akron, like what's kind of just the motivation level to just keep this program going in the right direction, keep improving, and really like trying to make some noise in the MAC this year?
I feel like that's all we've been doing since we've been here. We've been improving very well. Every day we're getting better. I don't think we've had any setbacks since we've been here, so that's been great.
With you being one of the few constants amid all the turnover in this program, what's it like trying to establish that culture with this new roster?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What's it like trying to establish the culture of this program with this new roster pretty much?
They're very disciplined. Like, it's honestly been easy. Like I've had to step up and be a leader, obviously, but it's been easy. They're very disciplined. They ask questions 24/7. They watch film, so it's been very easy.